We start off with a countdown to so-called Liberation Day, Wednesday, April 2nd, when a 25% tariff on autos and imports from any country that buys oil from Venezuela go into effect. We're also expecting announcements of reciprocal tariffs. Markets on edge as the date approaches. While the S&P and Dow both managed to post solid gains today, all three major indices are sharply lower so far this year. The S&P and Nasdaq both notching their worst first quarter since 2020. Uncertainty around the impact of tariffs on the economy weighing particularly hard on the consumer. Discretionary names, the biggest drag on the markets this year, followed by tech and communication services. Meanwhile, defense has been the best offense, with energy, healthcare, and staples leading the pack in 2025. But if we get clarity on trade in the coming days, could that allow markets to put in a bottom, start to rally, or is there more pain and volatility to come? What I heard today in terms of the conversation is there is no clearing event. April 2nd will come and go, and there will not be clarity still.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I still think the path of least resistance is lower. I think the good news, and this is something that Tim said on the call today, that 5,500 level, the S&P, which is where we traded down to on March 13th and bounced from, which is where we traded down to today and bounced from, that seems to be, at least in the short term, sort of this administration's short-term put on the downside. We'll see if that holds. So today's bounce, I guess, in terms of that level, in terms of quarter end, I guess it made sense, but I don't think you're going to get the clarity that the market needs in order to sort of grind higher again. I think it's going to stall out pretty quickly.
I agree with that. I mean, I looked last night at the futures. I saw down 50 handles. I'm like, all right, well, this is not going to be great. But, you know, the Friday close was Friday was just an awful day. So that wasn't surprising. Where we ended up was actually a little bit surprising to me for the reasons you said. And you said, I don't think there's any clarity that's going to come out of that. I think that it will just be the beginning of more uncertainty, right? The tit for tat, and we don't know where it'll end up. That's the part that sort of confuses me. Even if one accepts tariffs, let's just say we think, okay, that we understand why we want to do that. I'm not sure how the methodology is helpful to business confidence. It seems to be very damaging, right? So I don't really get that, which makes me think that the policies could change, right? It's not a lot of time before we get there. You'd think that they would know where it is already, but I think it could end up being in flux till the very end.
I'll echo that. I'll just say that I think today, the 2.4% off the bottom rally to the close. I mean, that's a massive move. And some of this is quarter end. Some of this is also just sentiment. Look, sentiment this morning felt about as bad as I've felt it in a while, even though there wasn't this clearing event. There wasn't really an event. And I think that's something to be said. I think it does set up for another one of these rallies. The problem often that we've had when we've had these periods of market downdraft is that earnings seasons come along and you've been able to focus on fundamentals. But we know this is going to be an earnings season where I actually think the numbers are going to be better than people are probably pricing in. But there's going to be zero about the guide that's going to be helpful. There's going to be a C-suite, almost every sector pointing out the uncertainty that we're talking about relative to their daily life. So I think, that's part of where we go. I would get back to today's tape where the stuff that's defensive, whether that's an Altria, whether that's an AT&T, those had huge days, but it was strange. Defense won, but also those oversold stocks won. And I think you could see some stocks back in the soup tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's defense that's coming back into the mix, too. Look at Walmart closed up 3% today.
Apple.
I thought Apple was really interesting because, again, if you go back to the playbook from 2018, Apple iPhones got an exclusion from some of these. And when I think about this, the sort of clarity that we might get over the next couple of weeks or so is like what products, what companies are going to be carved out of some of these sorts of tariffs as we think about the ones, at least with our allies, which are our biggest trading partners, EU, Canada, Mexico, and maybe they're kind of dropping a little bit by the wayside. And, listen, I think the guide, like you said, is really important. And we can just go back a few weeks to the end of earnings season. What did we hear from Walmart? What did we hear from Costco? We heard about a consumer that they can't exactly put their finger on. Well, then you'd say to me, all right, well, why was Walmart today? What do you say, Guy? What's their little logo that
everyday low prices?
Everyday low prices. So we've been talking about this trade down for like 2 years or so. So again, there's going to be pockets of opportunities. Maybe it's sectors. Did you see like pharma today? XLV had a nice rally back, that sort of thing. So, like as the silver lining guy on the desk, I just think there's opportunities here when we get down 10% or so that, on an individual basis or on a sector basis.
An additional 10% from here.
Well, I don't know.